In a galaxy where empires were forged in starlight and ruled by ancient bloodlines older than time itself, there was one throne that even warlords feared, the throne of the celestial Empress Calthera, sovereign of the Draconis dominion. Her palace floated above a molten world wrapped in swirling crimson clouds, guarded by fleets of living starships and creatures bred from cosmic fire. But for all her power, for all the galaxies that bent the knee, there was one problem she could not conquer: her baby dragons. Born from royal eggs infused with nebula energy, the twin hatchlings, Pirion and Velis, were magnificent and absolutely terrifying. Even as infants, their scales shimmered like liquid obsidian streaked with gold, their tiny wings crackled with sparks of plasma, and their playful squeals often triggered tremors across the palace floor. The Empress adored them with a fierceness that rivaled supernovas, yet raising heirs of such volatile power required help. So she summoned babysitters from across the cosmos, highly trained alien caretakers from advanced civilizations known for patience, telepathy, and even psychic soothing. The first was a three-eyed empath from the moon colonies of Zephyr. She lasted 12 minutes. The moment Pirion sneezed a ring of fire that incinerated a marble pillar, she fled in a hoverpod, screaming in 6 languages. Next came a gelatinous scholar from the oceanic world of Threll, capable of splitting into 5 calm, cooing forms. Velis found this fascinating, until she chomped down experimentally, sending the scholar splattering across the nursery walls. Reassembled but traumatized, he resigned immediately. One by one they came, robotic nannies immune to heat, crystalline monks who hummed lullabies in cosmic frequencies, armored beast tamers from savage planets, but none could withstand the chaotic curiosity of royal dragon toddlers who considered lightning a toy and gravity a suggestion. The nursery became infamous throughout the empire. Assignment to the Empress's hatchlings was whispered like a death sentence. And so, for the first time in her immortal reign, Empress Calthera felt something dangerously close to helplessness. She could command armies, but she could not command nap time. Desperate, her advisors proposed something absurd: a species so fragile it barely survived its own planet, a species with no scales, no claws, no telepathy, no resistance to fire. Humans. The court erupted in offended hisses. Humans were new to interstellar politics, soft-skinned bipeds from a small blue world called Earth. What could such a creature possibly do that galactic elites could not? But the Empress, wise beyond centuries, had studied them. Humans endured chaos daily. They survived through adaptability, stubborn love, and something the Dominion archives struggled to define: warmth. So a message was sent quietly across space, and weeks later, a small transport shuttle arrived at the palace docking ring. From it stepped not an elite warrior nor a scientist, but a young human mother carrying her toddler daughter. The mother, weary-eyed but steady, explained through trembling voice that she could not travel further into the empire due to illness, but her child, little Elara, was fearless, curious, and unusually calm around animals. The court nearly laughed her out of orbit. Yet the Empress sensed no deceit. Against all tradition, she allowed the experiment. The mother kissed Elara's forehead and entrusted her, with tearful courage, to an alien throne. When the nursery doors opened, tension rippled through the chamber like static before a storm. Pirion and Velis perched atop a cracked obsidian crib, smoke curling from their nostrils. Their golden eyes narrowed at the newcomer. Elara, barely 2 years old, with wisps of brown curls and chubby determined cheeks, toddled forward in soft shoes that squeaked faintly against the stone floor. No armor. No shield. No fear. The dragons hissed experimentally, small flames flickering between their teeth. Court guards tensed. The Empress rose halfway from her throne. But Elara did something no babysitter had ever done. She giggled. A bright, bubbling laugh that echoed through the vaulted nursery. She pointed at Pirion's smoke ring and clapped her hands as if it were a magic trick performed just for her. Startled, Pirion blinked. Velis tilted her horned head. The dragons were used to screams, to trembling, to frantic escape attempts. They did not understand delight. Elara toddled closer, sat plumply on the warm floor, and began babbling nonsense syllables with animated gestures, as if telling them a very important story about clouds and juice boxes. Pirion leaned down cautiously and puffed a tiny spark near her shoe. Instead of crying, Elara wiggled her foot and said, again, in a chirpy tone that made several armored generals drop their weapons in disbelief. Velis extended one claw, tapping Elara's knee gently. The human child grabbed the claw and used it to steady herself as she stood. Gasps filled the chamber. The dragon did not bite. She did not burn. Instead, she made a curious rumbling sound deep in her chest. It was not a growl. It was not a roar. It was something unfamiliar. A chuckle. Soft at first, like pebbles rolling. Then louder, vibrating through the floor. Pirion joined in, smoke puffing rhythmically as if laughing in dragon tongue. Ilara laughed with them, the three toddlers, two scaled and one soft, forming a circle of shared amusement in the middle of a stunned empire. From that moment, something extraordinary unfolded. Ilara did not attempt to control the dragons. She did not fear their fire nor worship their power. She treated them as equals in play. When they knocked over pillars, she built crooked towers from the rubble. When they scorched tapestries, she traced shapes in the ash and called it art. When they roared, she roared back, tiny fists on her hips, challenging them to be louder. And somehow, impossibly, the dragons moderated themselves. Their flames grew smaller around her. Their claws retracted when she stumbled. They began to nap when she napped, curled protectively on either side like living furnaces warding off cold. Across the empire, whispers spread not of destruction, but of laughter. The Empress watched from the shadows one evening as Ilara leaned against Pirion's warm side, humming a simple human lullaby. Valus rested her horned head in the child's lap. For the first time since their hatching, the nursery was quiet. No tremors. No smoke alarms. Only steady breathing and the faint melody of a species considered weak. The Empress understood then what her advisors had not. Power did not tame her dragons. Fear did not guide them. But innocence met with courage, did. And in that fragile human giggle was a strength greater than fleets. Years later, historians would mark that day as the beginning of a new alliance between Earth and the Draconis Dominion. But in that moment, it was simply a toddler making baby dragons chuckle. And as you witness stories like this, where the smallest heart can soften the fiercest flame, remember that true strength often arrives in the most unexpected form. If this tale warmed your imagination and reminded you that courage and kindness can bridge even galaxies, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join us for more unforgettable stories from worlds beyond your own.